Let me introduce the panelist. We have Dr. Poreddy sir. He is the Executive Director, Sreenidhi Education Institution, Hyderabad. We have Dr. Divya Nalla ma'am. She is the Director at Malla Reddy Engineering College. Then we have Dr. Chilukuri Bala Venkata, number 4. He is the Head of the Department of Electrical and Electronic Engineering. And then we have Dr. Tabrez. And Dr. Tabrez, he is the founding dean of MANUU Law School. He is also the founding dean of Maulana Azad National Urdu University. And he has been also the former vice chancellor of Goenka University. Thank you everyone for your valuable time. Today's topic is pretty interesting. I don't know why it's coming in the last. It should be the first one of the day. It's about digital divide. Now I'm not sure how many of you are aware, but just let me set the context. The digital divide is the people, the communities and the societies who do not have the access to basic digital information or the tools and technology required for them to grow. And with this, I will just start the panel discussion. There are a few exciting questions. So I'll first go to Tabrez sir. Just a minute. Yeah. So Tabrez sir, the question is, what specific strategies the education institution adopt to ensure that students from the underserved community can also have the access to the same creativity and the digital tools and the resources certainly for them to succeed?
Thank you very much for asking a very relevant question. That generally what happens that you mentioned very rightly that we have a lot of reasons that why we have a digital divide right now. So it is always challenging to keep pace with challenging time. What we have realized during the pandemic that let us see some data that only 30% universities, colleges could survive in pandemic, and then those students who are actually getting education in those times, they have in whole life lot in their mind in this level of knowledge because they could not do anything. And only 30% university colleges will be providing the proper education. Why? They are fully ready. They have the online journals, they have the platforms, they have trained teachers, they have students with the gadgets, so they could provide the education. But 70% were lagging behind, and mostly they're from the village areas, local areas, where there is no net connectivity, there is no trained teachers, there is no technology, so they were lagging behind. So it was fully realized during the pandemic. But before that, people thought that it is mostly a business aspect. People are coming and selling technology. Telling please use the technology, you'll be able to support and all. Once we realized the pandemic that how we have suffered a loss, then we realized the power of the AI or power of the cyberspace in higher education. I remember my days, I was very fond of using the tech. In my initial period of as a professor, I get comment from the old teachers that they're telling you are not a good teacher because you're using PPT in the classroom. And you are taking support of PPT to teach. But this is not idea of PPT. Idea of PPT is that how to engage maximum. If you are a teacher, if you go to the class, it is challenging to engage everybody. And sometimes somebody will be engaged by using the technology, some by sound, some by video, some by lecture, some by interaction. So our good teacher knows that how to engage. And it is very challenging for a private university because I have worked for 20 years private, and starting from a position of the faculty to become the vice chancellor, what I realized that is a tough time because in a private university, in a classroom, you have very diverse kind of student in the classroom. Somebody from a village, somebody from a city, somebody from the convent, somebody from Hindi medium, English medium, all variety is there. For a faculty, very challenging how to engage everybody and how to fix the divide because already entire class is divided. But if you are teaching in IIT class, because in IIT, everybody is at least on some parameters. IEM, everybody on some parameters. NLUs, some parameters are there. So faculty can tune a particular level. Everybody will be learning in the class, and because no divide is there. So that's why it's very challenging for universities that how to use technology to bridge the divide. For example, the first challenge is that how the students who are coming from the lower strata of the family or village areas, they may not having access to technology, they may not be aware to how to access the online journals, how to read the e-books. So first challenge is that how to make them trained, how to access. Second thing is that how to provide the basic skill. Third is that how to then help them to have the good quality IT gadgets. Then in this process, there are a lot of investments are required. So good that at least some universities, they are very active in engaging and providing the support, because right now, see, earlier days, if you have very good infrastructure, you can be a good university. But right now, no. You only brick and mortar will not fix the tone for the quality education. You must have the very active library with lot of computer system, with lot of net connectivity, with lot of softwares, e-books. So the issue is that how you are really going to train the student, provide access, and then trying to at par with all the students who came from good families with the gadgets. So this way, I think lot of analysis is required and lot of filtering is required, which particular you can say the AI tools, which particular kind of the platforms are required and suited for this university. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabrez sir. Just to summarize, it's like we needed COVID much earlier, I felt, just to boost the technology explosion in the, not only in education but across the sector, certainly. So now the question, thank you, Dr. Tabrez. So the second question is for you, Dr. Reddy sir. Now, from a blended learning perspective, where do you feel that, what should be the blending learning strategies for the students, particularly who does not have an access to the traditional learning methods, right? So any thoughts on that front?
Let us first try to understand what is blended learning. It is a combination of both online learning and face-to-face learning. A research was conducted, what is the effectiveness of online learning vis-a-vis face-to-face learning. So it is found that online learning will be less effective when compared to face-to-face learning. So when there is a combination of both online learning as well as face-to-face instruction, it is going to be definitely more effective than only online learning. So that's why the blended learning which is being talked about is now preferred, so that the learning is more complete on the part of the learner. The another aspect that is possible with this blended learning is you can have an instruction which is differential. That means some students are stronger, some students are weaker, and so in the face-to-face instruction, it is possible to have a differentiation between the students of one ability and the students of other ability. And this is differentiated instruction. And that possibility of collaborative learning is also there, because there is a face-to-face instruction, and also the students can be given group assignments, students can be given some task together, and in the process they will be able to do learning together. And in this process there is also possibility for feedback by the evaluation processes, how effectively the student is able to answer. So based upon the results of that assessment and feedback, it is possible for the on-the-site mentor to give a little more time to a person who is not able to follow, and so on. So these are the various advantages we are now having when we go for a blended learning and when compared to only online learning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I think, that's inspiring points, because not everybody is having that personal connects, right? Particularly in the blended learning, and that's where the blended learning will be successful only if it is customized and individualized or personalized as per the students, because not everybody is at the same journey or, you know, from a level perspective, right? Everybody is at different level of their journey from a learning or a knowledge perspective. So now I'll go to Dr. Chelukuri sir. You know, what's your thought about how the partnership between the technology companies, the education institution, and also communities as a tri-party can help bridge the gap of the overall digital divide?
Thank you, sir. Yeah, at the outset, I would like to continue from where Dr. Narasimha Reddy garu has discussed the issues. I will just start with a small example in my own life. About 10 years ago, I had a student who was a very bright student, but who couldn't come to college frequently. She used to do well in the examination. When I inquired at a later stage, she quietly confessed that she is married and her in-laws do not allow her to study. They do not want her to study. So she used to come on the pretext of going to her parents' house. Saying that she was going to her parents' house, she used to come to the college. That was the situation about 10 years ago. Had it been for this blended learning or inclusive learning, digital learning, she would not have had that particular problem. Then second, we moved on to the COVID phase, wherein it became very popular, and then students slowly but surely adapted themselves to this particular lifestyle. So keeping these few things in mind, we'd like to look at what the society can contribute, what the industries can contribute, what individuals can contribute, what institutions can contribute in this direction. The first one, I would say, I would start with partnerships for inclusive learning, between colleges, polytechnics and industries. We need to develop a proper rapport with the industry. The educational institutions need to work with industries so that certain arrangements would be made to meet the needs of the society, particularly in the context of the weaker sections of the society. Then we would look for policy reforms for digital inclusivity. See, at this juncture, students do have a choice, colleges do have a choice, universities do have a choice whether to go totally digital or just avoid being digital for the time being for their own convenience. So supposing, let me just cite one example. Supposing they go with the examination system. Supposing it is totally made digitized. Then the whole system would have to be revamped so that the digital divide could be overcome. Then going to another one, that is the community engagement initiatives. Talking about community engagement initiatives, I would talk about two things. One is adoption of schools as a part of corporate social responsibility. I say schools and not necessarily colleges, because at the school level itself, they need to be acclimatized to the digital learning process. And then that particular process should continue. At a higher level, we talk about adoption of villages. Villages are adopted for different reasons, for their overall upbringing, but in particular, in the digital transformation context, they need to be adopted. So adoption of villages and educational institutions. Then I would talk about certain showcasing best practices. We need to showcase the best practices to the society so that people do not lag behind. The schools and colleges which are already into some digital practices and digital technologies, into blended learning, they should be familiarized with the best practices, and that is where the industry can help. Then we go for some student support services. Now when we talk about colleges and universities, much can be done in this particular direction. Then I talk about the technology infrastructure, such as the supply of laptops and mobiles. It's being taken up at the government level in some villages, some cities, but it has to be taken on a massive scale so that really it would make a difference to the society. Then I talk about teacher training and student training. Now teacher training is as important or more important than training the students. If the teachers know how to incorporate those technologies, how to make use of the systems, the internet, all the tools that the ICT has got to offer, then they can pass it on successfully to the student. So student training can be organized by the colleges themselves. Then we go for the industries. They should go to the educational institutions and educate the students on the latest.
Yeah.
I repeat the word latest. Last but not the least, I talk about high-speed free internet facility. High-speed free internet facility must be made mandatory unless and until both the universities and also private managements, whether it is college or a school, they incorporate this one. They cannot really encourage the poor and the middle class to adopt this particular technology. With these few submissions, I once again thank the august audience. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Chaluguri, sir. Just on your last point, we just had a 20% increase last week on the mobile and data usage. Nevertheless, now I'll go to Dr. Divya ma'am. So Divya ma'am, so what do you think in terms of the role of an educators, what they play in terms of bridging this digital divide gap, and how the educators be supported in terms of integrating these digital tools into their teaching practices or curriculum?
So about the educators, they play a major role in bridging this gap. Let me just cite an example of a student who is joining an undergraduate course from a rural background, or nowadays every student is equipped with a phone, mobile phone. There's no student without a phone these days now. But does the student, I'm talking about a student of engineering who is joining an engineering course. See, these students, they are used to using mobile phones, but when it comes to the technology aspect, what exactly is the technology they are using? Suppose they have to use a computer, they have to do programming in their first year, but they really do not know the technology inside that. What is the kind of computer they are using? What is the technology behind that? What is the basic things, like parts of inside the computer, what is the memory which they are using? These or the processor which is there. This may not sound like a digital divide, but this is what is essential for a student to later really do something using those digital devices. In the first year, they have to be equipped, they have to be taught about these basic things. We might assume that the students know about all these things, but it is essential for the educators to equip the students with the basic usage of digital tools and the functionality and the technical aspects of those different tools. Then about how they have to be, now everyone is is using the cyberspace, how they need to use the cyberspace, how they have to securely use that. This has to be taught to the students. These are some things we assume and we neglect these aspects, but these are the most essential factors which will really shape up the student and which will help them in using the digital tools in future. Then the next one is about when an educator is teaching the courses, they can be through a learning management system or a digital tool which will enable the student to really learn the curriculum, learn the subject using that tool. But this process of using a tool, the teachers also have to be familiar with that. So to make the teachers familiar with that first, not only familiar, they should really know which of the functionalities have to be used in those tools so that the student will benefit it much better. Suppose there is a graded discussion. Definitely having a graded discussion would be a very beneficial thing where the students would participate. They can, whenever they get time, they can just post their thoughts on some given topic. But the teacher should know that this will really benefit the student. So for that, the teacher has to first understand that they should be understanding about what the functionalities. It's not through an FDP which they're going to get it. They have to use them as students. They have to use those tools as students, and then they would be equipped with all the functionalities of those tools. Then they would be maybe able to use those tools effectively in the classroom. So these are some implementation aspects when we are talking about digital divide, and when we really want the students to use these digital tools and really use them effectively, have some outcomes out of that. The teachers have to focus on, they have to first learn them as students. They have to participate in as students in using those tools, and then give that experience to the students. Definitely the educators play a major role in dividing, in bridging this digital divide. And another kind of digital divide is the quality of devices. Now I have seen one stall outside where they have digital displays and digital boards and these things.
Yeah, they are looking at us now because you just told them.
Yeah. So not every institute has this kind of digital devices, because it's not possible in every institution to have such devices in every classroom. It's possible probably in premier institutions, universities and all, because they're all government funded. But definitely all these have they have all become very cost effective as of now. And I mean, the institutes are able to afford these devices, and also training the teachers in these in using these devices is also very essential, so that they can use them more effectively and they can deliver the sessions. I mean, when we start using these devices in the classrooms, the first people who learn from these, on usage of these devices are the students in the class. They learn, they really know thoroughly how to use the device, and if a new teacher comes in, they are the ones who are going to teach the teacher there.
So I have some stats to add here. You just brought a point in terms of where does this youth spends their time, and how do you, as an educator, hook on to them. So I'll just give some statistics. There are 106 crores game downloaded in India last year in mobile. Okay. So if you as an educator make your content gamified, then probably this youth will be spending more time playing the education related games as compared to other games, and that will probably help them boost the overall usage divide perspective, which you just brought up.
There's one thing I would like to add up. They have access to the devices, they have access to the content. There is huge content everywhere. But the educators have to really guide them and make them focus towards what is essential and what is not. That is something the educators are really, needed to do.
Thank you, ma'am. In the interest of time, Poreddy sir, over to you. And it's like last two questions. Request you to summarize quickly. What do you think that how can the policy makers effectively tackle this digital divide?
As our panel speaker spoke, there is a lot of investment required for bridging the gap. The investment may be in the form of access devices. It may be in the form of establishing some centers or some locations where the people who are unable to own their own access devices, they will be able to make use of that. So policy makers, they can make or mar the whole system. if they have proper statistics based on which actually they will decide what is the investment required and whether the investment is available from government source itself or not, or whether they have to go for any public-private partnership or not. All this depends upon the wisdom and decision-making of the policy makers. They have to actually come out with the regulatory policies such that that is not just only a one-time affair, but it is continuous thing and sustainable. So the role of policy makers is very great because the money that is required for backup of everything, including actually provision of internet in the nook and corner of the nation, all this depends upon their decision making, and they are very important.
No, thank you, sir. Very well brought up that we need a continuous and sustainable policies from the government because well, not to discourage anybody, but we all know on the floor here how many COEs are dead today in the country, right? That just brings me to the last question to Dr. Tabrez, sir. How can digital literacy program be effectively integrated into the curriculum to prepare students for the digital future and immaterial of what discipline they are coming from, right? And I would just like to add on top of it, the most important topic which we did not discuss is that the people with disabilities, nobody spoke since morning, nobody's bothered about it, right? So if you have some thought around it, please.
Very good point that really it's a matter of choice and it's a matter of the analysis that where we can integrate the technology, the AI and the contents. So if you know about the human rights, so one of the very important right to everybody as a human being, and earlier we realized that the cyberspace can be tool for the violation of the human rights because if you are on the online, you are subject to crime by anybody or you can do crime to anybody in the world. So you are prone to the crime, but actually if you realize that the technology can be a very good the tool for protection of the human rights because all those persons who are not able to really walk to the classroom or go to the offices, okay, can talk to them for the violations of their rights by email or by call, okay, or by use of the technology, AI, they can realize their rights. So one way is that the government of India or any government in the world, they can provide support to the people who are disabled, the women, children, or with disabilities. If they can be given support of technology, they can enjoy their human rights. Second thing is that, you were asking the first question was that regarding that, if you talk about discipline, every discipline now have the very strong content of the IT. For example, if I cite being the law background, if I cite the example, current example, from 1st July, Government of India has produced 3 new criminal laws. These are totally new laws. It is totally different than the laws made by the Britishers because we have borrowed with the British colony, we borrowed the criminal laws. But now Government of India has given the new shape and more Indianized version. It is talking more about the IT content. If you talk about old laws, it is not talking directly, it's talking indirectly in context of IT Act 2000. But right now, directly in IPC, CRPC, and evidence, now they have given new laws, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Sucha Sanhita, and all these laws, they are giving more relevance to information technology, the mobile phones, you can say the electronic evidences. Now the question is that, now those earlier judges and lawyers, if they are not having any knowledge of the criminal laws, cyber laws, or how you can have electronic evidence, they will be having lagging behind. Because right now, every case, if you analyze, solved by use of technology. So in the new laws, there are a lot of content of IT is there. In fact, now every law student, every judge, every lawyer, they are bound to understand the electronic evidence. They're bound to understand the electronic content. They're bound to use the AI. If you want to become a good lawyer right now, you cannot have time to go and see AIRs and reading thousands of cases. If I can cite one case, its name is Keshanand Bharti case. It is in more than 1,000 pages. Can a lawyer can read this case for citing in the court of law? But if you can use AI, AI will directly go and then find out the different lines. it can code different lines. Within few minutes, you can prepare a report for the court of law. And you can also find out that what is the probability of winning the case. It will tell you. It will analyze the judge's personality and will tell you whether you are losing the case, winning the case. So in every profession, if you use AI or use the online journals, you can save a lot of time. It will be giving a lot of the help to you. If you see the investment versus output, it is very, very great output if you can save the time. So this way, I think we have to see that where we can use technology for student, as a teacher, as a professional, then we can do wonders. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. I think, everybody spoke a great point. So let me just summarize. 𝐂𝐴𝐤𝐿 sir spoke about the inclusivity and the policy reforms. Divya ma'am talked about forget rest of the things. First, let us equip the students with the basic necessities in the year one, right? And see that, how the educators be given the good platform. Reddy sir spoke about continuous and sustainable solutions required from government, which goes a long run in terms of bridging the gap of digital divide. It's not that, you inaugurate when your government comes and then probably it dies of its own death when there is nobody to take care, right? And, Dr. Tabrez also brought a lot of points around access, skills, usage, quality, which you just spoke in the first. In the end, it's all about human at the center. So I just hope that the new government policies, as well as the educators, really keep the human at the center or the core, and then discuss and decide about their infrastructure investment to ensure that, we bridge the gap of digital divide. Thank you, and I would request the ON team to come on stage.
Thank you so much, our panelists, our moderator. Huge round of applause for them. And to felicitate them, I'm going to be inviting on stage Mr. Sumit Rawat, our Head Education Vertical from ObserveNow. Please, everybody, put our hands together as we'd like to thank our moderator and our panelists for joining with us, starting with Mr. Prashant, Lead Education and Government at Adobe for South India and Sri Lanka. Thank you so much for excellent moderator. Next, calling up Dr. Poreddy Narasimha Reddy, Executive Director, Sreenidhi Educational Group, Hyderabad, Telangana. Thank you so much, sir, for joining with us. Next, Dr. Divya Nalla, Director, Nalla Reddy Engineering College, Hyderabad, Telangana. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your insights with us. Next, Dr. Chilukuri Bala Venkata Subbaraidu, Head Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering, Southern Women's College of Engineering and Technology, Hyderabad. Next, Dr. Tabrez Ahmad, Founding Dean, MANUU Law School, Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad, and former Vice Chancellor, GD Goenka University. Can we take a picture together? Let's have a group picture. Let's all put our hands together as this was the last panel discussion. And tomorrow, of course, we are lined up with